Okay, folks, here we are. We're back on the T-bucket. I've got the steering box mounted. I've went ahead and mounted the steering column. And let me show you some of the couple of the issues we have. They're not huge issues, but they are an issue with this. So just so you're aware, it's not a bolt together, put it together, and everything's going to line up kit. So as you can tell, right down here, see how this U-joint's hugging the transmission side of the body, which is no big deal. I'll radius that out a little bit with a die grinder and a rasp tool to get it to fit a little better. As you can tell, I have the U joint all the way down. It's down a little bit far, as you can see. You can see my splines in the hole. It's actually a groove that set pin goes in. So that's a minor issue there. Let me show you the bigger issue. As you can see, I've got the rubber grommet in there, or a piece of rubber that it comes with. Put it in so that it's centered. And as you go down to this bottom one, as you can see, I can get my finger in on this side, and that side I cannot. So actually a steering column is cocked a little bit towards the transmission tunnel. It's ever so slightly. I don't think you'll notice it when you're sitting in a vehicle, and driving it. But that is an issue there. So probably what I'll do is I'll probably unbolt it, slot these mounting bolts, make a little slot on them to get this whole bracket to slide over a quarter inch or so. With that being said, the other issue is where this bottom mount meets. You can see this is the way it came from the designers, and the bottom bracket just barely catches the bottom of the steering column. So what I'll do is I'll just move this. I'll cut a couple slots, probably an inch up, so it fits and grabs hold of the bottom of the steering column. So that's one of the issues that the kit has. It's not a huge issue, but just beware. It's not a put it in, slap it together, and go. All right, folks. So let me show you how I did this. First off, I'm just elongating these holes. I went from a single hole, basically a double hole. A couple different ways you can do it. You can drill down next to it, take a cut-off wheel and cut it. What I do, I just take a little deburring tool. It takes a little bit of time, but I can control it. Fairly simple on there. So in order to get to where I wanted, I just took a marker, lined up my holes, drew some lines on the top of that, come down, drew a stop line. So we're going from, take my caliper here, we're going from a hole that's roughly 385. And I made it 700. So double the size of the hole, and I think that'll allow us to slide this piece over, and we'll go from there. After we bolt it back up, we'll see how everything lines up again. Okay, as you can see, we're back. I've got the steering box taken off, and we're going to take about a quarter inch off of there. You want to go in small increments. Only because you don't want to take too much off. Didn't mean to shake the camera there. So we're going to trim something like that, you know, with the, once again, with the die grinder. I did change die grinder tips. I got a bigger one. So I'll be able to reach through there, do my grinding. And it's just not a straight round grind. I have to grind on an angle because that's the way the steering shaft comes out. So you want to keep that plane going. If not, it's not going to fit. So I'll get that ground out and we'll start putting everything back together and see how we did. All right, please forgive me. We're going to have to do a little voiceover here. So I got it set up in a vise, and we'll show you how we measure on this, install the holes. Before we do that, this is where the U-joint goes through. We're going to have to grind on the inside here. That's the side towards the firewall, not the outside of it. We'll clean up the bottom just a little bit, make it a little bit, look good. So with that being said, got a line where the steering column goes down. That's how far it goes down in the clip there. So you can see that needs to be moved up at least an inch. So we'll slide it in there, and it's a little tough getting it put in there with the rubber grommet in there, or bushing rather. But that bushing makes it really nice when you go to tighten things up for the final assembly. So it just takes a little working it, talking to it sweet. I'll slide that down, jiggle it around a little, right to the line. And you can see a little bit better when I go on this angle here on how that fits. Just barely catches that bottom bearing, or the bottom of the steering column. There's the bottom of the steering column. You just rotate it a little bit to see the other side of it. So you're a little less than halfway on that bracket. So I'm pointing at some stuff there. Can't really remember. So when I mark this out, I just want to go an inch. So I just put my ruler there, line it up with the back side of that, mark 1 inch, draw a straight line on each side. And I do this so I've got a good start and stop point. Connect the lines. And I want to say that was an 1/8 inch slot. I can't really remember at this point. If you got a question about it, ask me in the comments. But it's the same size slot as the original one was. Finish my marks up, and I'll round it off, and there's my pattern to go by. So I'll do a couple center punches in there, put my drill and a cut off wheel, and